So this is not a video where I tell you I've got 75 great tips for how to dress in cool weather running. No, I've got two, maybe 2.5, but they're great tips. Welcome to Ageless Runner, I'm Ralph. So I'm a little bit of a hothouse flower. I don't like to be too hot, don't like to be too cold. So dressing in cool weather is often a challenge for me, but I've got two tips I've learned and developed over the years I want to share with you that can make your life easier if you're like me and always struggle with what to wear so you don't get too hot or too cold. So tip number one is you need to be cold at the start of your run. If you're not, if you're too warm or if you're comfortable, you're going to be too hot once you get into your run. Now this can be a little bit of a challenge the older we get because older people feel the cold more, and there's a biological reason for that. We all have this layer of fat under our skin. It's like a layer of insulation, and as we get older that layer thins out. So older we get, the more we feel the cold. So you need to tell yourself, I'm going to feel cold. You don't like it, but you need to feel cold. I did a half marathon back in April, and it was kind of chilly and windy, and I was almost shivering to start that race, but I dressed correctly because during the race I did not overheat. So you need to be cold, just put up with it. Once you start running, you'll warm up. Now tip number two, I know what you're thinking, tip number two is dress in layers. No, of course not. You know how to do that. You've been doing that most of your adult life. No, tip number two is not to dress in layers, but tip number two is to help you figure out what are the layers you want to wear, how many, what type of clothes you want to wear based on what you have. So tip number two is keep a log of what the weather conditions and what you wear. What you want to do, and what I started a couple of years ago, is when you go for a run, write down the weather conditions. What's the temperature? What's the sky conditions? Is it sunny? Is it cloudy? Partly cloudy? What kind of wind is out there? I usually don't run if there's precipitation, but if you go out and it's snowing, know what the precipitation is going on. Then make a list of what you wear. Now you don't need to be overly specific, but you need to be specific enough so that if you look at that log entry a year from now, you know exactly what you wear. So write it down and then do your run. Then when you come back, you want to do two things. First off, note how you felt during your run. Were you chilly at the beginning? Did you warm up okay? Did you get too hot? Or did you do anything during your run to change your condition? In other words, did you unzip your jacket? Maybe took your neck gaiter off, took your gloves off. Note those things down. And the second thing you want to do in your after run notes, and this is most important, if you're going to do that run again, is there anything you would do differently? If you were just fine, just note, hey, no changes in my dress. But if you would do something differently, note that. For example, I think of a couple of times I noted I would not wear my short sleeve running shirt, which was kind of a middle layer for me because I got too hot. So note those things. That's how we learn. Now there's a couple of reasons for keeping a log. Two I can think of. One is over time, you'll kind of develop these little mental rules of thumb. For example, I have this mid-weight wool long sleeve base layer. My mental rule of thumb I've developed is got to be below freezing, below 30 degrees Fahrenheit, below 0 degrees centigrade before I'll wear that. If I wear it in any conditions warmer than that, I'll get too hot. So you develop those kind of rules of thumb. The other thing the log does for you is it's a reference. So for example, we're starting a new year now, a new cool weather running year. I did a run the other day. It was like in the low 40s and sunny. What should I wear? I went to my log and looked for some previous times where I ran in similar conditions. That gave me a starting point for how to dress. So it's kind of like a little encyclopedia of how to dress for your weather with your clothes. So you don't need to keep the log all the time. You want to do at least a season. You don't need to record every time you run, but do you want to record various weather conditions? Even though today I ran it's 42 and sunny, if 2 days from now I run it's 48 and sunny, I would probably enter that because I would consider 5 to 6 degrees difference in temperature significant enough that I'd want to record what happened and how I did that. The other time you might want to keep your log going is if you get a new article of clothing. Maybe get a new jacket and it's a new year, you got a new jacket, you might want to make some log entries with that new jacket, see how it works for you. But maybe keep a log for a season, try to get various weather conditions, write down what you wear, and most importantly, how did it go for you? So I said I had 2.5 tips. My other half tip does have to do with layers, and that is don't wear too many. 3 at the most, try to shoot for no more than 3. That seems to work best without getting, again, too hot, too bulky. So try and limit it to no more than 3 layers. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please scroll down and hit that like button. And if you're new here, I'd love to have you stick around. Please hit that subscribe button also. Thanks again and happy running.